President Trump speaking out on the midterms, Russia, China, the future of his defense secretary and the crisis with Saudi Arabia, even as congressional leaders promise tough action on the apparent brutal murder of a journalist inside the Saudi embassy in Turkey. Evening, everyone. Welcome to The Next Revolution. I'm Steve Hilton, and this is the home of positive populism. In a moment, we'll discuss all that breaking news from the president with Jason Chaffetz, who's standing by for us live. Plus, as President Trump's substantive accomplishments pile up, his enemies in the media still sneer and belittle the big changes and real results that are being achieved. Here with me for all that and much more are Tomi Lahren, Teslin Figaro and Rehan Salam. But first, let's get to tonight's breaking news, President Trump's interview on 60 Minutes. The president offered a fierce defense of his administration's policies on North Korea, Russia, trade and more in a sometimes contentious sit-down. Take a look what happened when Leslie Stahl pressed the president on Russian meddling in the 2016 election.
Do you believe that the Russians interfered in the 2016 campaign, election?
Well, they meddled. But I think China meddled too.
But
and
why
I think
do you say China meddled
and you
too?
want to know something?
Why do you say China? Why don't you just say the Russians meddled?
Because I think China meddled also. And I think, frankly, China
is
a bigger problem.
You're diverting the whole Russian thing.
I'm not doing anything. I'm saying Russia, but I'm also saying China.
China. I love it when he says China. Among other things, the president said he has no plans to shut down the Mueller investigation and also vowed severe punishment for Saudi Arabia if it's proven they murdered journalist Jamal Khashoggi, just as Senator Marco Rubio was out today with a strong message for the Saudis.
It needs to be thought through carefully, but it needs to be strong. It needs to be reciprocal, and meaning it needs to actually live up to the level of the outrage and the criminality, if in fact this is proven to be true. I'm glad the president didn't tie his hands in terms of exactly what we're going to do, but it needs to be very strong and meaningful. It can't be symbolic.
All right, let's break all that down with Fox News contributor, former Utah Congressman Jason Chaffetz. Jason, there's so much in there. I wanted to quickly start on the Saudi situation. It seems to me that there's a very obvious narrative being put forward here. I was watching it all day on the media and elsewhere, which is that they're trying to make out that President Trump is somehow being soft on Saudi Arabia because there are financial ties and they've got these compromise. I heard that word being used. And they're trying to treat it like Russia, whereas, in fact, he's been incredibly clear. He literally said there will be severe punishment if it turns out that this happened. I just think it's Russia all over again.
No, I think the Democrats have jumped onto this without knowing about all of the intelligence. I think the president has struck the right tone. I think Marco Rubio is right. It has to be measured. It has to be calculated. It needs to be precise. It can't be symbolic. It shouldn't be an overreach. This is a very serious situation. But we also are friends with the Saudis. But nevertheless, this type of behavior is abhorrent, should not be stood for, and there needs to be a United States response. But the president is taking us down that right path.
That's exactly right. I mean, he said that right from the word go, that this just is really outrageous, and yet they're desperate for him to appear as if he's being soft on some rogue regime. I just wanted to switch to the other element of the interview that I thought was interesting, the General Mattis aspect, where he basically said, we didn't have the clip there, but I think some of our audience have seen it in the last couple of days, which was that, he's basically General Mattis might stay, he might go. He's basically a Democrat. He was kind of, very positive about him, but open to the idea that he might be leaving his cabinet. What do you make of that?
General Mattis is well revered on both sides of the aisle. I think that's why he was overwhelmingly confirmed. I think he has done a great service for the United States of America. I'd be sad to see him go. But, you serve a few years in that position and then you move on. But at the same time, I think he's been strong. I think he's been a good leader, and I think it's helped us in North Korea. It's helped us with Iran. It's helped us around the world. And it's certainly helped with the funding that Congress upped by tens of billions of dollars to get our military back in strength after being decimated by the Obama administration.
And then you saw the president there getting very fired up about the way he was being pressed on Russian meddling and making the point that China has been as well. It's just so interesting, isn't it, that storyline of Russian meddling, they just literally can't let it go even though there's no evidence of that at all. I mean, it's just striking. It's almost the only thing that his critics in the media and elsewhere can talk about.
There's no way that Leslie Stahl would have treated President Obama that way. She would have let him answer the question. Anybody who's serious about understanding what's going on in the cyber world understands that China is a much bigger threat. Now, no doubt about it, Russia is a threat. They did try to meddle, but the Chinese, Donald Trump is right about this. And anybody who's serious about understanding cybersecurity understands that China also has a big role in this. The president was absolutely right, and I thought Leslie Stahl overstepped her bounds by continuing to interrupt the president.
I totally agree with you about that, especially on the China front. One of the greatest moves, I think, from this administration is the way they've reversed decades of the failed China policy and got incredibly tough. And set out in Mike Pence's speech the other week. It's a really big accomplishment. One last question for you before we have to go. Just with your political hat on, really, and give us a kind of look forward to those crucial midterms in a few weeks' time. Where do you think it all stands right now?
I think enthusiasm is the biggest factor in the last 3-4 weeks of an election. I think the mob rule that you see happening from the Democrats turns off the independents and the centrists who will determine the election in many of these cases. I think Republicans are ginned up after they saw the way Judge Kavanaugh was treated. And I think Republicans have that energy, and the Democrats are repelling most people, saying, I don't want to be like that, when they watch the TV and see this mob rule that the Democrats are encouraging, participating in, and executing at this very moment.
I think that's exactly right. Repelling is exactly the word. We've got a bit more on that later in the show, but Jason Chaffetz, for now, thank you so much. Great to see you.